From the Apopco Studios in Oklahoma City, this is a sports update with Barry Trammell. I'm Jenni Carlson. Barry, the NFL has decided that Adrian Peterson will not play again this year, suspending the Vikings running back for the remainder of the season without pay. The former Oklahoma standout had been obviously in some legal trouble over punishment of his son, and now the NFL is saying he won't play again. Is this a bit of a surprise that now that his court case is over, he's settled, that the NFL still says you owe us games to sit out?
I don't think it's too much of a surprise. I think it's on many fronts it was working against Adrian Peterson. I think the NFL is not too happy with Adrian. I don't think the NFL is happy with his response to the charges back in September. The lack of contrition didn't really fall on his sword too much. So I think the NFL is wanting to make a point there. I also think this is just a financial question. We saw what happened when the charges first were made in September, and the Vikings, he missed that one game, and then the Vikings reinstated him on a Monday morning, and in about 30 minutes they said, we get the picture. Too many sponsors, too many big financial people said, we don't want any part of Adrian Peterson, including dealing with a team that he's on. So I think the NFL is facing some financial issues. I think even when the NFL reinstates Adrian Peterson, he's going to have trouble latching on with the team, whether it's the Vikings or anybody, because I think there's going to be a lot of protest on Adrian Peterson's actions.
Well, I think that begs the question, what does this all do for Adrian Peterson's legacy? I mean, obviously, an MVP season after he tears that knee, nearly breaks a single-season rushing record in the NFL. Clearly one of the best running backs the NFL has ever seen, but now an entire year when he was healthy that he's not going to play, and now all these questions loom over him. What does this do to his legacy and his future legacy?
Well, I mean, I think it harms it probably irreparably. I mean, I think this is a guy that had sights on Emmitt Smith's rushing record. I don't think he was going to get there. Nobody really did, but he was going to give it a go, and he's a hard guy to say no to when he's got a goal and a determination. But the numbers sort of become a sidelight now, and we don't really, when people think of Adrian Peterson, they're not going to think about his rushing records, his fabulous seasons. They're going to think about the charges and what he actually admitted to. It'd be one thing if he said, I didn't do this, but he's saying, I did it. I just didn't think it was wrong. So I think people are going to remember him as a great tailback who just had a fatal flaw in his character and the way he conducted himself. I think he will play again, but I think it's going to be a hard road back, and it's going to be nothing with the status that he once had.
Well, the NFL has made its decision about what it's doing with Adrian Peterson. I think now people may start turning their attention to OU, his alma mater, which has his name on some facilities there. They've taken money for scholarships from him. Does OU do anything as it relates to Adrian Peterson at this point?
I don't think OU does anything now, and if I think that's wise. I would let and see how this whole thing rides out. I think ideally that OU would like to keep the name up there just as much. It's not a real prominent position. The Adrian Peterson meeting room where the team has meetings, where we have our press conferences after the game, those kinds of things. It's not a high-profile place. The public doesn't really go there. So I think OU would like to just sort of sweep it under the rug and just let it lie. I think they would make more news taking his name off than if they left his name on. So you never know. It's possible that they'll feel pressure to take it off. But I think for now, they'll let it ride and see if that name can stay.
It's likely Adrian Peterson will appeal this. In fact, that's expected. So this story goes on, and we'll continue to cover it. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.